Hello, this is Eric Cooper. This is my Model 8 legal aspects um, for supervision and evaluation of school personnel. First thing we had to do was an article review of three articles: Every Student Succeeds Act, Teacher Evaluation, and that heads to courts, a bunch of articles on that one, and then Teacher Evaluation and Issue Overview. So the first one was Every Student Succeeds Act. This was a good one to get rid of. It ended that the federal government had involvement and also does not require test scores to be a significant part. I think we all didn't like that. I mean, that it had a good point. I think they were on the right track of trying to establish a way to promote teachers, to encourage teachers, but it definitely fell short and needed to go to the state level, which it ended up doing. So this allowed the states to develop their own goals on more than just test scores. We're going through a big evaluation change right now with new principals, new leadership at the district level. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. But I'm glad that it went to the states and out of the federal governments. A few factors to consider when developing evaluations from the article was to the growth of the students. We can show that more than just a test score. We can show it by data throughout, whether it be classroom scores. We can do the communication skills. There's all kinds of different ways we can observe, and that was end up to be in the state and the local level. Um, and then the new plan must follow. No matter what plan we have to we bring in, we do have to follow due process rights of our contract. The next article was teachers' evaluation heads to court. Wow, that was pretty informative. I didn't know that we had that many court cases, and I'm sure that's just a few of the highlighted ones. Um, a lot of them had to do with student test scores and teachers' tenure being fired or let go because of stuff that really shouldn't have mattered. I mean, we all know that test scores determine. There's a lot of different determinations off of a one-day test, so not a fair representation of our teachers. Teachers evaluate on scores and subjects they don't teach. Have no idea why this would come about, or teachers get fired over it. I mean, to me, that one was just crazy. Teachers union and NEA have stepped up and helped fight for the teachers. That's true. I know our NEA is very active. Luckily, so far, hasn't been in a firing, but they always know that they have our back, and so as well as the unions. The third was on evaluation and issue overview. We talked earlier that the state would be in control and have different rules and regulations on the evaluations. They did want student performance was a factor, and they at the beginning they want to do up to half of it as be the evaluation of how a teacher does, how well the kids perform, and that was an issue. The teachers unions have stepped up and said that they are not fair and need to be reworked. So again, they tried. The union stepping up, saying, "Hey, let's do something different," and hopefully we work together. I like the way our evaluations are being handled now, and so I think it is moving in the right direction. Um, one of them said that one of the articles, or this article said that in the evaluation there was a teacher that was either going to be fired or that was working towards a bonus, and both of them improved their teaching ability. Um, but I guess I question, is that because the principal decided that? Who decides that? One person decides if they improved? Was it because the class said so, more than one evaluation? That's the thing that I have a problem with is um, one principal is in charge of the whole thing. And we have to keep that all fair, and then again with the due process. So Clearwater, this is our teacher evaluation. So the first thing we do is and this is coming up. I had to sign up for it the other day. I have a pre-conference with our principal, and some of the things we're going to talk about is what's going to be taught. What am I teaching the day that they come in and observe? And we do set a visitation day. That's up to my choosing, as long as it fits into his schedule as well. So we'll have some dates, and then he wants to know what goals am I trying to hit that day on that teaching lesson. I teach math, so that'll be obviously what we're trying to cover in that lesson and how it meets the standards. And I have to fill out my own evaluation form of how I plan on teaching the lesson, as well as where I'm at with the lesson and just my overall performance. And that's something I have to do on my own. And then we'll review that at the end. So observations. One of the things that I'm disappointed in that was supposed to be is more observation than just one classroom period. The gentleman that's doing my observation is extremely busy, which I'm sure all principals are, and we will be when we become principals. But uh, I hope to be able to get into the classroom way more than just one time. But it's looking like my evaluation is going to be based on one class period for 48 minutes. So again, something that I would change as a principal. Then we'd have a post conference, and that is to be done within a few days of our observation, fitting into his time schedule again. So I will go in. We'll sit down. He'll tell me about what he observed. Then we'll have an open discussion on it. If I have any questions or concerns, that's the time we'll bring that up. He'll point out some goals for improvement. That'll go with my self evaluation because I've already set goals with the new process, and then we'll discuss that as well, and have new goals. And then the idea is he will come back in throughout the next year and make sure that I'm trying to reach those goals. Again, I don't know how effective that's going to be because he hasn't been in before, other than one time this year, and we've been in school for 5 weeks now. So we'll see. Hopefully that changes. Then the last thing is if you feel it's inaccurate. If I feel that something's not accurate in his statements, his observations, and that's part of the open discussion. That's part of our policy. We're supposed to have an open discussion with him on things that he can improve on, being the evaluator, and then me being the person being evaluated. One of the court cases, the court case that I picked was Stewart versus Public Education. This happened in New Mexico. I think this is very interesting that the teachers were giving poor ratings over flawed data. So they're getting let go. I'm not sure if they're docked and pay. I'm not sure how New Mexico did it at the time, but they're being let go off of flawed data. Being they had the wrong students attached to them, so they might not even taught these students that they were getting evaluated on. They were the wrong data, the wrong subjects even. So maybe they taught math. It didn't say, but I'm assuming they taught maybe math, but they were getting evaluated on language arts or science or social studies or whatever they were testing. So yeah, that to me is just wrong. And then the data was put in as incorrect student attendance. So some of these kids were not there when they're being taught or were there and then said they weren't there. So a lot of data being mishandled there for sure, and the teachers took the brunt of it when they shouldn't have. So this is still in progress. On September of 2015, so a couple of years ago, the court held a hearing on preliminary injunction. So I know when I'm reading it, it didn't say what the final outcome is, and maybe there isn't a final outcome yet. But that is something I am going to look at because, that's just wrong in lots of different areas. So when I became a principal and my evaluation process, one of the things that I was aware of, because we're going through it again, is we do have to follow the laws of the state and our district. And what I mean by that is show how the district handles the evaluations. We have a system in place. We have, most all districts have more than one principal, and some of them are been there a while. Not everybody, hopefully, is hired their first year. So it'd be good to meet with that group and figure out how they evaluate pros and cons, and then go ahead and talk to some of the teachers and figure out what they like. We're excited about this new process because it was supposed to be more than just a one-day thing. So we were excited. Now we're kind of like, well, we'll see what happens. But knowing that all the teachers were excited the first time, I hope I'm able to be in the classroom more than just the one-day evaluation. The evaluation process, I plan on being positive and having helpful comments. So if I see something that maybe we can do a little bit better, kind of spin that into a positive. Sometimes you can't, but do the best you can in doing it, and always too positive for one negative type of attitude. Let them evaluate the process. So, again, part of our open discussion this year will be me explaining to him that I think he should be in the classroom more often, and I hope he takes it as a positive thing and something to work on, because that's how I want it to be. I want the teacher to be able to have open dialogue with me and let me know what I need to work on, and then we can have that discussion as well. And then again, be in the classroom more than just for one evaluation. It's hard to evaluate somebody off of just one time. So, make sure they hit their goals. Make sure the process went well, and then follow back up. And that's my module 8. Thanks.